Hey everybody, welcome back, and here we are, stepping into our continuing playthrough of Panzer Leader 1940 Avalon Hill. I switched back to the headset. I really wasn't really pleased with how the audio was turning out the last couple of videos when I was just using the microphone off my camera. So I think this gives a little bit better sound, a little bit louder sound. So we're back to the headset. And as I have been thinking over, figuring out, all right, what am I going to do? I now do remember one of my issues and one of the things that I've been doing wrong with the mortars. Now, mortars are an indirect fire weapon. We know this. They can, however, also be fired in a direct fire mode. That's the way I should be using them. They've got such a low firepower of 3, and whenever you shoot at a target, you have to separate or divide their fire by the number of targets in the hex. So if I were to fire, and you do this with all artillery, drop the fire here, it would be 3 points divided in half because there's 2 targets in the hex. So it'd be 1.5 to 5, which that's even less. That'd be 1 to 4, right around there. Really, really hard to do anything. Now, if I were to fire them in direct fire mode, I could combine their fire together, and I could specifically target a specific unit in the hex, like with all other direct fires. So that's what I was doing wrong with mortars. That's why I haven't been really too successful with the mortars yet. All right, yeah, maybe if I can catch like an anti-tank gun out in the open by itself, the mortars might do something. It's better to use them in a direct fire mode. So what we're probably going to do with these mortars is we're going to be moving them into here, and then maybe over here. You need to basically both the French and the German mortars I need to do something else with them rather than continue using them in the indirect fire mode. So let's take a look at the casualties so far. The French have managed to knock out some Panzer Kampfwagen 1s, and the French have lost some infantry. And I think one of those was even lost by their own artillery fire. Lost his little chevalets or Chevalier. I don't know French. I'm sorry. If it was German, I could speak German. I know German. These armored personnel carriers, or infantry carriers, I guess you could say, kind of equate them to like the Italian L3s, little bitty tiny things. So anyways, let's go ahead and step into moving into turn 4. And let us see what we can see. All right, so start off with doing artillery strikes. And my phone is ringing, and I'm going to ignore my phone for right now because I'm sure better not. Maybe my folks. Of course, nothing important. It was a telemarketer. Oh, and I do want to say it's wintertime here in Seattle. It's sub-freezing temperatures. We've had it snow twice in the last few days already. And I was up at my folks' yesterday helping Dad string the Christmas lights on the outside of the house. It's kind of funny because my father, there's only one reason why Dad strings the Christmas lights, and that's because his granddaughter likes them. His 25-year-old granddaughter likes the Christmas lights. So Dad and I go out every year, suffering sub-freezing cold weather, to put up the Christmas lights because he doesn't want to disappoint his granddaughter. He'd have never done that for me or my sister. But hey, I guess grandkids are something special and something different. Anyways, I love the winter. I hate being out in the cold. I know, it doesn't make any sense. Anyways, back into the game. First thing we do is nominate artillery fire. So we are not going to be nominating the mortars to direct fire. Like I said, with what I already explained, it's just not doing anything for me at this point. So we've got the 105s and the 155s. All right. And they're way back here. And 32 hexes, they're going to reach anything on the mat. So it doesn't really matter. I haven't fired. I haven't spotted there. Those guys are spotted. You know what? I think the French focus wants to be over here. So let's drop some 105s there, which is H1, 2, 3, 4. H4, and the other one will be on I4. And the 155s. Yeah, let's go ahead here with the 155s, V2. All right, so that's nominating artillery for next turn. Minefields and artillery from last turn. The mortars were CU3. Or was it V? I think it was V. 1, 2, 3. It would have to be V. Yeah, all right, so deviation. Lands on target. 3 to an 8 is 1.5 to 4, which would be 1 to 3 odds. It's possible. Something could happen. Not with a 6, though. All right, so the second mortar, deviation. 5 deviates in one of the 6 surrounding hexes. 3, 1, 2, 3. Artillery lands here. No effect. All right, first 105 on R3. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's going to be bad if that lands. Deviation. 4 deviates. Let's see if the French can shell their own troops this time again. 2, 1, 2. Hey, they do manage to shell their own troops again. So there's 2 targets there, and this is the 105s, which have an attack strength of 40. So there's 2 targets in the hex, which means it's a 20 striking each hex, but they're armored targets. Howitzers against armored targets are halved again. So it's 10 to 6, so it's basically 1 to 1 odds. Top unit 1 is going to be disrupted. So flip him. And the second unit is another 1. All right, this is what I do with all my charts. There's one of them. And there's the other one. Okay, now, taking a look at the charts, everybody can kind of see this. You see that there's Ds and DDs for disruption. A D is a normal disruption. A DD is a normal disruption as well, unless it's already disrupted, in which case it is eliminated. So yes, the French managed to, their own artillery managed to knock out that Hotchkiss, and that is going to be 2 wreck markers placed in there, because if we remember from the special rules, French armored units count as companies and therefore count as 2 platoons. So yeah, great. Maybe I should be a little bit more prudent with my French artillery. Okay, the second 105 battery is going to be hitting R3 again. So let's go ahead and roll for deviation. It deviates. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's their infantry. So it's 40 divided 4 ways, which is 10. So it's going to be 2 to 1 odds, plus 1 because they're in the woods. Oh boy. Let's make sure I'm doing that right. 40 divided 4 ways is 10. 10 factors against 5, 2 to 1, right? That whole math thing. All right, 2 to 1 on a 4. Is it disrupted? Second one is a miss. Let's pull these guys separately for now. Third one, 2 is a disrupted. And the final one is a 6, which is a miss. All right, so 2 disrupteds and 2 nothings. Yes, I think the French are probably going to shoot their artillery commanders here at some point, because they are losing more to their own artillery than they are to Germans. All right, and then the final one, the 155s, was Q2, which was going to be right here, but the Panzerkampfwagens moved, so we still have to roll for it, though. 3 does deviate. You know I'm going to roll a 2. You know I'm going to roll a 2. 5, okay, so it lands right here, so no effect. All righty. Yeah, we need to have a nice long talk with our artillery commanders. All right, now we go into actual Schussting combat. Over here, we can get together. Let's fire an infantry. Yeah, I mean I've got a lot of infantry moving up. I'm gonna have to do something. So 4, but it's firing at infantry is half. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 to 8. Ugh, that's 1 to 4. It's 1 to 3 odds. and normally it would be halved, but for being on a slope, but I'm right next to it. It's too bad these guys. What is that? Yeah, that's not. Without those guys being disrupted hurt. So yeah, it's going to be 1 to 3 at one of those infantry units. I need a 1. Hey, what do you know? Actually manages to come through. But turn those to the side to indicate they shot. These guys have no real target. Panzerkampfwagen is hidden behind the woods up here. The anti-tank gun is hidden behind the woods because I can't see and we're not adjacent. So we're going to move those guys. These guys, too, you know what? It'll be better odds if I actually close assault with them so they're not going to shoot. The mortars we did not designate to fire, but they've got nothing to shoot at. So now we've got up here. We've got a lot of stuff up here. Okay, you know, I was thinking of using this. Well, I suppose I still could use this char. So let's go ahead and pull those counters off for a little bit. So we've got 8, range of 6. We know the anti-tank gun is there. So let's go ahead and fire that char and this infantry at the anti-tank gun. So it's firing at an infantry target. It's going to be halved as 4, 5, 6, 7 to 3. Which is going to be 2 to 1 odds, and it's going to be +1 for being in the woods. 2 + 1 is a 3 is going to be a disrupted, so it doesn't matter that that op fire is there anymore. Flip. All right, flip them over, and they're there. So they shot, and these guys shot. Okay. Yeah, we need to get. Yeah, I got tanks up here, but I mean their attack strength is halved for shooting at infantry, so it's not going to be any good. I'm gonna have to get artillery in there. I'm gonna have to get infantry up there to start trying to dig them out. But since they're there, they're going to shoot anyways. 4, 8, 12, 17. Halved is, I know math. What is that? 17 divided by 2. 8.5 to 8, so it's going to be 1 to 1 odds, +1 because they're because I can't close assault them. So yeah, I might as well just go ahead and shoot at them. I can't overrun them. So 1 to 1 odds +1. 4 + 1 is 5 is nothing. So they get marked as being fired, and I think that's all I have for shooting. I think so. All right, end of movement. I need to get these out of here. I need to get these carriers out of here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those guys. They count as 2, so I'm not going to be able to jack any infantry in there. So we're going to have to try to get the infantry around the flanks. So we'll do that as well. These half tracks. 1, 2. And now, I mean, normally I'd be taking them one at a time, but, you know, just to save time, I'm taking the entire stack. So 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 4.5, 5, 6. And just to get them out of the way. Let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unload them. Those are anti-tank guns. No, let's not unload them. Let's keep them where they were at. Let's take these guys. 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unload for 7, and that'll be 12 movement points. 13, 14, because you got to remember these are actually trucks, and trucks have a movement of 14. And then this guy will do the same thing. It'll go 1, 2.5, 3, 4, 5, 6. Unload will be 13. Okay, so he won't be able to move out of there. But that's fine. That's fine. And those guys, we'll keep those guys in a little bit of reserve. I mean, if they shoot at infantry, they're going to be halved. So let's not do anything there yet. These guys, it's actually a pretty beefy anti-tank gun. If I move them here and unload, that'll trip out fire, and that's a bad thing, so we won't do that. What to do with these mortars? Let's just go ahead and move these mortars there. Yeah. All right. Up here, movement. One half, 1, 2, 3. Could overrun here. But then that'll pull a majority of my armor out of the way. But, you know, I got all this infantry. I've got to try to stop that infantry. So, yeah, this flank was pretty much just to try to keep the German reserves from shifting anyways. And I don't think they're going to be able to do that too successfully, but at least we can try to put some hurt on them. So, yeah, let's do an overrun here. Let's see if I've actually got the movement points to do it. It's been a long time since I did an overrun. You would think in 12 pages of rules I'd be able to find it a little bit easier. Overrun. Okay, armored vehicles may only overrun those enemy units located in clear, executed immediately, straight through the enemy occupied hex, exiting into the hex directly opposite of the hex of entry. May not move at the road rate, but may use roads to negate the effects of terrain. Only the target hex must be clear terrain. Combat, okay, overrunning units attack with an increased combat effect. Odds ratio of the attack is compared to normal procedure. Combat odds, however, are increased one column in favor of the attacker. 3 to 4 increases to 4. Additionally, 2 is subtracted from the dice roll. Defending stack is treated as one combined defense factor. More than one armored unit may overrun an enemy stack. They must, however, execute their own over attack as one combined. Yep. Okay. In determining overrun odds, use only the strengths printed on the units for attacker and defender. Do not have or double for the weapon's effectiveness chart, which is good for armored overrunning infantry. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. Now, these guys did move at least a quarter of their movement in the line of sight of this howitzer, or this infantry field gun, 75 millimeter SIG 38s, I think they were at the time. However, howitzer firing at normal or less than 6 hexes or less shoots as normal. So on 4 I could, but it'd be 2 to 7, which would be 1 to 4, which would op fire wouldn't do me any good. And nobody else here. I mean, those guys are in trucks or in long range. So, okay, so we were right here, or right here, right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, so I was able to get over there. And so we did the overrun. So it's going to be 10 to 8. And since we don't have it for the weapons effectiveness charts of armored versus infantry, it's going to be 10 to 8, which is 1 to 1. But I increased the column shift by 1, so it makes it 2 to 1. And I subtract 2 from the dice roll. So 2 to 1, 3, 2, 1. That is a dead infantry platoon. So that is an eliminated. There we go. Now the French are actually starting to do something to the German infantry. There, that's good. That's good. So let's go ahead and swing these guys. Well, we don't even really need to rotate them. So that is good. Germans have been breathing a sigh of relief because of the French artillery, but now the French Hotchkisses, the 39s, are getting into combat and overrun infantry left and right. Okay, and I believe that's going to be it for movement. Yes, that is going to be it for movement. Close assaults. These guys right here are going to go ahead and close assault into the woods. So it's going to be 2 to 3, which is going to be 1 to 2, but it's -2 to the dice roll, +1 for being in woods. So 1 to 2, -1. 6 minus 1 is the 5. That's not going to be anything. And that is going to be the end of the turn. Go ahead and flip disrupted back over. Let's go ahead and rotate these guys that shot back to normal. All right, I think we're done. All right, German turn. Okay, scheduling artillery. Again, not going to do anything with mortars. I've got my two 105s. We're going to have to hit over here because this is starting to get a little too messy. I don't think that infantry is going to be there for much longer. So let's go ahead and hit the artillery. G1, 2, 3, 4. G4 and H1, 2, 3. Okay, but the mortars did have pre-plotted from last turn. So they were going after E5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First artillery. 1 lands on target. Unfortunately, it's a 3 divided by 3 ways, which is a 1 to 5, no effect. Second one scatters. It's going to be land right here, which is nothing. The first 105 battery at R2. R2 right there. Oh, this could be something. 3 deviates. Watch me roll a 1 for the deviation. 2, nope, lands right there, no effect. And R1, which would have hit the Hotchkisses, but they moved. I did not calculate that real well. All right. Okay, so that's all for artillery. Now Ger's shooting. Yeah, they're disrupted. I should probably put the disrupted units on top. Nothing there. Shooting there is not going to do anything. Don't want to move. Well, I could move that guy up. He'll get shot at a lot, though. We'll keep him in reserve. Okay, I'm going to have to commit this guy. So let's go 1/2 1, 1/2 2, 1/2 3. But he did not spend a quarter of his movement in line of sight, so the Hotchkiss is not going to be firing at him. I think we're going to go ahead and keep the Panzerjägers up here in reserve. Let's go ahead and move the infantry up, or the mortars up, because we're no longer going to be using them for indirect fire. Those guys are going to stay right where they are. Panzer Grenadiers. My company in reserve is going to stay in reserve. This infantry is going to shift here. This infantry is going to shift here. We're going to pull these Panzerkampfwagens back. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, don't want to go into the swamp. Actually, I don't even think they can go into the swamp. You know what? I screwed it up again. I'm supposed to do shooting first. I can't believe I do that sometimes. Yeah, really, the only thing that I had that I was going to shoot was this unit here. So, yeah, can't believe I did that again. So used to gaming move before shoot. So 5 to here is going to be 10 to 6. It's going to be 1 to 1 odds. It's going to be a 2, which is actually going to disrupt them. And if I had the infantry there, maybe a time to close assault. That guy's loaded. He's now okay. So there, fine. That was it for shooting. Nobody else is going to shoot. Believe I do that. Movement. Okay, we don't want to get overrun anymore. So we're going to move there. Those guys are kind of stuck there. And I really can't. You know what? Let's go ahead and unload them. Again, load them up, unload them, load them up, unload them. Just to keep the French armor honest to not go that way. These guys, howitzer could have shot 1, 2, yeah, 75mm infantry gun. But it would have been 2 to 7, which is what, 1 to 4, which wouldn't have been nothing. All right, so that's going to be all for fire and movement. Close assault. I could do close assault to here. It'd be 8 to 12, which would be 1 to 2, -2. Take a look at the odds ratio. 1 to 2, -2. Yeah, we'll do that. So these 4 infantry platoons are going to go ahead and do a close assault here. 2, 4, 6, 8 to 13. Again, like I said, 1 to 2 odds. -2. 1, 0, -1. Oh, it's just a disrupted. Had they already been disrupted, it would have been a double disruption. It would have eliminated them. But still, that gives us a little bit of breathing room there. And that is going to be it for the German turn 4. Go ahead and flip the disrupted units back over. And the units that have shot. And that's going to do it for turn 4. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms in the comment section. Getting close to 300 subscribers. Really, really impressed with that. I'll talk to everybody later. Hey,